So sure. All right, man. For the playback, you already know this is the live stream. So those who's playing it back, give us a moment to get started. You may skip ahead, because the algorithm takes a moment, but I'm going to at least tell you what we're talking about for the live stream playback. We're going to be going into documents illustrated of the American slave trade. It's a book that I found. 1935 is the publication date down now. It's a book that I found here, and we're going to see what type of truth or not truths this book may or may not hold. And it's going to be important because it's going to be important because they wrote 748 pages of this book. Now, there's another book I want to pull up. Actually, while we're waiting on people to come in here, I'm gonna pull this book up because I want to really show that. I want to really show that these people will write complete books about nothing, about propaganda. Damn, where's that book at? Oh, I know what it's called. I'm looking at my little folders here. It's called Where Do YT People Come From? That's what it's called. So we about to, where that folder at? Where do they come from? Okay. What's the name of this book? I'm gonna pull this book up real quick too. The Indigenous Races of the Earth. I'm trying to pull back on this. Hold on. There we go. That's a little bit better. All right. So let me pull this book up too. Paste and search. All right. And this is in the Cornell Library, okay? What's up, Etwa? What's up? What's happening? Good morning. Good morning, people. Good morning. Appreciate y'all coming in. Get an early lesson this morning. What's up, Swank Mob? He said, how's the host? I'm cool. I'm good. How you doing this morning? Greetings, Glowfy. Good to see you. Tash and Tales said, finally some books. Yeah, like, if y'all like me, I like to listen to live streams a lot all day. I don't even watch, even though I make quite a bit of content, I don't watch as much content as I should. Because watching content is where you can really learn. I get stuck on the live stream, so it's always good to learn in the live streams. Did you drink tea this morning? I need to drink some more, actually. I appreciate you throwing that in there. Yeah. I've been definitely have to give me a good old glass of that this morning. That's for sure. You said, read me, brother. So we about to get going. So the topic is going to be about this book and slavery, mostly. Different facets of it. Now, we already know it's fake to a degree, but some degrees are not fake, some degrees are fake. What can we prove with hard facts and documents and books and stuff, and what can we prove, what can we not prove, and just come up with ideas. Me, I like to keep hitting as many documents and books as possible, because I always feel like I can find something. If it's either going to be something that can either help or help the arguments, or it just might be just reiterating things. I don't know. It just or it might be propaganda, and you just got to be have discernment. But this book is 748 pages. Okay, so off top, it makes you feel like it's pretty official. Like, why would they write a book with 748 pages worth of stuff and it not be real? So as you dive into the book, one thing I realize I don't like is I haven't been able to find actual full totals for all. Like, they're gonna break it down by state as far as slavery importations. As you can see, importations of Negroes in 1671, and I was like, I wonder what the total is, and because I really wonder if the let me show you this. There was a total on the census. Let me pull up the slave population census form that I always pull up. The most amazing form. But there were on this page, there was something that shows importations. And they show most of these importations coming in between 1715 to 1808, right? Like we know. But they also show them as these numbers. And I don't want to give away what I'm going to get to, but they show these numbers. 333,000 is who they say came in. That's who they say came in up until 1808. Now, just to kind of burst the bubble on everybody's African real fast, well, by 1808, there was 1.2 million slaves here. So 333,000 people don't really multiply that fast to 1.2 million, especially, and that's also not including the people who were free and counted free at the time. And that's also not including states where they started expanding to, and all of a sudden you got hundreds of thousands of people showing up after 1808, like in Alabama and stuff like that. Everybody who knows, right? But what I'm about to say is that it just doesn't multiply up that high, 333,000 people, especially when they tell their narratives about how horrible slavery was, and they had short lifespans, and 3/4 of the people that came over here were men. So it's like, well, how they procreating how they procreating with just a small amount of women? You know what I mean? And then you got to think, if you're bringing over, what's up, Mocha? Good morning. If you're bringing over, hundreds of 333,000 slaves, right? Only so many of those, they said only a fourth of those were women. So now you're talking about less than 100,000 of those is women. So what's that? Like, what's it? A third of that would be 100,000. So less than that, somewhere around 70,000 would be women. And then, according to them, and then you got to think how many of those were women within childbearing ages, right? That's only so many. If either they're too old for childbearing or too young, and then you got to think how many of those men can successfully get those women pregnant, and how many pregnancies will go through successfully. They don't have doulas and midwives. They might have had, I don't know. They were African slaves on a plantation. No, they wouldn't have a doula and a midwife. They was just supposed to give birth on the cotton field. and don't you get no blood on my cotton, okay? Get your ass out there and pick that shit, goddammit. What's up, upper echelon? Good to see you, upper echelon native. Appreciate the gifts. Appreciate everybody else coming in, too. Domo Rose, good to see you. Appreciate you. Yeah, good to see y'all. So, already we kind of busting up their story. It's like, well, if you bring over that many folks and you're telling us not that many were women, and these horrible. They had short lifespans. So now you got women with short lifespans. You got men, and you got these men who have to somehow procreate and get that number somehow to 1.2 million. Pretty goddamn fast, you know. Over 100 years is not long enough. I mean, in my opinion, but either way, that's the narrative, okay? So I was always questioning these numbers. And of course it says these are importations, but on here it says the British West Indies had brought some people. So now we're going to go back to the book. So when I found, now why was I looking for this book too? Let me tell y'all why I was looking for this book. Because let me find it. Where you at? I probably can just goddamn Austin Lawrence account book, Yale University. I think it's in Yale University. I had the shit saved. I know I gotta save somewhere. But I think it might be in here. Documents related to the Portuguese, documents transferring other shit. This is longer than I thought it was gonna be. Let me do a control F. Lawrence. There we go. So, I'm on the Geechee topic. Damn, I thought it was just gonna be right here. Online, right here, maybe. Your boy got to do a lot of clicking to find some shit. Y'all don't understand how deep I'll be going. Okay, there we go. I know I should have to save. Collections Library Yale. Let me see. If I don't, let me save it. It should be somewhere down here. It's just so many damn things. And when I be going back and forth looking, my eyes just be skipping over shit. And that's a good thing because the way I'm so good at all this research and do it so fast is because I've always really been good at skimming through shit, which is a really good trait. But at the same time, sometimes when you looking for something real specific, then your ass be done skimmed over that bitch 20 times. What the fuck is that, man? Like right now, I know I got that bitch right here, dude. And then you gotta be like, okay, right here. See, I didn't even notice it. Now I know it's got the Y, but I knew I had it. But I had skipped over it probably good 5 or 6, 7, 8 times because of my damn skimming. But the reason why I was getting to this is because this book really intrigued me when I heard about it. I heard about it through. Let me show you who I heard about it through. We're gonna go to the here. You know what? It'd be faster because this thing is kind of a large folder full of shit now. Let me just type in Darius. Thank God for search engines. Showing photos. Yeah, okay. So when Darius and his young ass, his young, nowhere having facial hair ass kid wrote a whole book about the Gullas, not the Geechees, but they will blanket them with their information as well. And in his book, he had talked about a couple of things. Now, one thing I'll throw in here, they like to play games, and I've talked about this before. In his book, he has this thing where he had took a screenshot, and he said this was in some type of account book, not the Austin Lawrence account book, but this was for the somebody's plantation. I forget the name of the guy. But it says these are Negroes at the top, right? And most of these Negro names we can recognize. Grace, Isaac, Sambo, Lydia. Tammy, Betty, Aaron, Hercules, Hercules, Dublin, Rose, Phoebe, Johnny, Quamino, Sam. They also try to say Quamino was a African name, but we used a lot of Q's in our indigenous words. But there's names all throughout here, Affy, Elsie, Charlotte. But they honed in on this name right here. And it's only because I know these people like to play minuscule tricks is why I always question every single little thing they do. Like, for instance, do I want to get off of this and come back in there? Yeah. For instance, for those who don't know, because this is kind of pretty new. For instance, where's that photo go? When they try to talk about they try to say that the whole reason why the Gullahs, one of the main reasons why the Gullahs were linked to these people in Sierra Leone was because of a song that was sung that somebody traced back to Sierra Leone people singing that same song. Now they never in many cases they didn't show you what that song was. I mean, they let you hear it, but they didn't show you nobody singing it. I'm trying to find that clip real quick. One of these.
Dikes and water.
No, not those. This one right here. He said, "You're African, period. Well, you're blocked, period. You dumbass. Period, that bitch." Anyways, sorry. Just saw an nigga come in here. That might have been the first thing he said. Oh, he said, buy a new iPad. If you think that these cracks are the screen is cracked, you're just probably a moron. That is actually my what do you call that, screen protector that is cracked. Okay, and I do not care to change it at this point in time. So yeah, you came in here and you clowned and you just got blocked, you know what I'm saying? So anyways, so let's go back to this. This is the song that they were playing. Now I saw this first because they like to change things. Like they realize when something they show you is kind of bullshit, and then they'll try to change it a little bit later. It's one of those things, and I'm good at always paying attention. But let's just notice they're playing a recording. The recording comes from one of our people back in the day who sung this song in the Geechee area of South Carolina, right? So Lorenzo, this guy, who's I don't like. What's up, Fadi? Appreciate you. How you doing this morning? This guy who I don't like, he was listening to this old recording of a song that our people sung, and he tries to act like he knew like an African song in there.
Specific connection to Sierra Leone required more exacting proof. The woman Turner found singing this song didn't know what the words meant. But to Turner, the meaning was clear.
Now let me ask y'all this. They just said that, hey, look, I scrutinized every word. They said, hey, the woman that Turner was listening to on a recording didn't know what the words meant. How does Turner know that she didn't know what the words meant? He didn't interview the person. He just heard this recording someday from an old recording because he was not around during slavery times. This nigga was alive in the 1950s, okay? So that's what I'm getting at. He didn't interview a slave, because this is a slave recording, singing this song. Supposed slave, a black Indian person, one of us, singing, let me get that out of the screen, singing this song. And So somebody's just making the assumption that she didn't know what it meant because he didn't know what the words she was saying. But let's hold up.
It was a funeral song of the Mendis, the largest ethnic group of Sierra Leone. It was the most extensive example of African language he or anyone had found among the Gullah. Words Turner found.
So first off, I want y'all to first realize a couple of things. And when I first watched this, I questioned everything. Even what and I wasn't even validated in my questioning until appreciate that, Matoka. How you doing this morning? What's up, Wave 89? Said that's not how we talk, right? And so I questioned everything when I first saw this. The first question I said was, how come you didn't show me a Sierra Leonean person singing this song? Like, that was the first thing. Second, why are you just showing me B-roll footage of a dusty place? This motherfucker dusty, okay? Third, the song did not sound the same that you just actually let me listen to. Listen, there's a distinct repetitive thing. Come by the alley, lily, blah, 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 and some of whatever. But then there's the come by the alley, lily. So we that listen to songs, we understand repetitive shit. So if we're not hearing the same repetitive shit, what's up, crew, right? If we're not hearing the same repetitive shit, we're not gonna say that's the same song. Nigga, is you crazy? So listen.
Specific connection to
Hold on, in the beginning. So what? To be honest, I'm gonna tell you what it is. Just to reference back to I don't want to leave off of that. We'll reference back. I showed that right before this. I showed how they had that list of names, and there was this one name I didn't really get to, but there's this one name that you really can't read on that page, and that's the thing they'll try to hone in on. They won't try to research all them other names on that bitch. They gonna hone in on this one little name that you can't read, and they be like, "Oh, that's an African name right there. Yeah. It's Musa." And it's an African king, you know. So it's kind of like this. They found a song from one of our people that was hardly discernible, not because of just the words she was saying. It was two things that was making this hardly discernible when you think about it from a logistical perspective. It's one, the old recordings. Old recordings are already hard picking up the vocals, right? And it will distort a lot. And then two, she's speaking already in Geechee, which is a broken English patois. So now you're trying to listen to and understand a broken English patois through the old early 1900s recordings that was fucked up. It's no difference than you trying to force yourself to read a word that other people won't read, that you can't see because it's kind of scribbled over. And now you're trying to come up with an Africanism for that bitch. You see what I'm saying? That's like, I get their game, and they do this a lot. And it's the same thing with what they did with the whole Geechee going from Kisi to Geechee with a G. Now, Geechee, we know, is from the Ogeechee River, right? Then they said, oh, well, technically it's from the word Kisi, Kissi, the Kisi tribe. And that must have been the original name of the tribe because they went with that for goddamn 20, 30, 40 years. Let me not get so elevated in my voice. It's just now getting back. But they've been doing that for 30, 40, 50 years or whatever. Then all of a sudden, Queen Quet's ass come along, and this bitch done changed the Sorry, I don't want to keep saying calling. She's not a bitch. I'm sorry. I want to disrespect her in that way. But this chick keeps saying that she changed it from. You know what? When you change history, you are a bitch. Fuck that. You done changed the goddamn history and you was paid for it. Yeah, fuck that bitch. So, she changed the word, she changed the spelling from Kissi, Kissi, to Gidzi, Gidzi. So I have to question, who told you to change the name? Who told you to change the phonetic? It's you're trying to say it phonetically sounds the same, but now you're changing the spelling, which is gonna make it phonetically sound a little bit more like Geechee, and it's also gonna make it look visually a little bit more closer to Geechee, saying because now it has a G in it versus a K. And people would question it like Kissi versus Geechee down. I don't know, because I did when I first heard it. When I first heard that they said Kissi, and I'm gonna get back to this, that Kissi was Geechee, the Geechee, I said, nigga, that don't make sense. I said, now y'all just playing. Just because you done found a word that was like phonetically similar, but not really, because it's Kissi, not Geechee. You know, y'all just kind of playing games. But then next thing you know, a later documentary comes out with her, and she done changed the spelling with a Gidzi. And now you're hearing Geechee. And now I'm like, no. Y'all, you done got chipped off of that $10 million grant. And now okay, let's get back to this. So as we heard, so they played the song, and then they showed you a dusty ass place where poverty stricken weirdos are walking into tinfoil homes, and I don't know why they don't just. I don't understand why you don't cut these motherfucking trees down and build a goddamn correct house. But anyways, what the fuck is wrong with these people? There's trees all back there. What in the hell is wrong with these people? Look at all them trees. Look at all them goddamn trees. Y'all don't know how to cut wood down and chop them hoes up and make a goddamn correct roof in this bitch. I mean, you don't want your roof to be made out of wood. Yeah, that would be porous. Don't get me wrong. You know what I'm saying? But there's other things that you can do, man. Come on. And then look at how rickety these motherfucking homes is and shit. You didn't even finish the front. Anyways, man. So, but you want to tell me these are my people over here, you know. And look at the land. They just showed the land of the free and the home. Tell me why that looks like Queen Nefertiti right there a little bit. But anyways, just noticed that. But, you know, the beautiful lands and pastures, right? And then you get to just dust. But okay, let me get off of that. So I was questioning this song, right? I was like, how come you didn't show me the people actually singing the song? But then I had kept digging, and I found an older documentary. And this older documentary actually they actually showed them going around. Not this one. Not that one.
Face the debt.
This one right here. So this is them. So they done brought. This is a later documentary now. No, this is an earlier documentary, which kind of pisses me off because I was like, how come you didn't bring these people along in the other documentary as well as these people? How come they didn't show these people singing this song in the documentary that came out later, right? Well, this is what happened when they brought the people and made this whole thing about. I want y'all to. Okay, this is when they first found the tribe or first found the people who were supposedly singing that song. Okay, yeah. Right here. Let's listen to this first. So first you hear they're playing the song for the people, and you can hear the "Come by the alley, Lily" part right there, right?
We
played the song.
An anthropologist.
Oh, my bad. I don't have to go back.
In each village.
This is them about to sit down and do it.
We sat down with people, mostly older people, who might still remember, and we heard long tales of their past. But each time we played the song, we couldn't find anyone who really recognized it. They would recognize one or two Mendi words, but never
What's up, Tabitha? Good morning.
the song.
We were just
Nobody gives a goddamn fuck about what she playing. Ain't nobody excited to hear it. They don't know it, but okay.
disappointed. Village after village after
Yeah,
village.
look how they
said,
look
well,
at that.
yes, there's Mende in that song, but we don't know that particular song.
And one thing you have to pay attention to is when the narrator. That's what I'm a big person. I love documentaries. One thing I pay attention to is certain styles. Now, when you go to a place and the people are there, you got tons of people there, right? But you're telling the entire story. You're showing the people, and you're like, yeah, they told us that there was a lot of Mende in the song, and they recognized several words, but and it's just like, how come you didn't let them tell us that? How come you didn't put that translator on camera and he said that, right? That shows, twisting, forcing the narrative. Exactly. That definitely shows that. He said, the birth rights, so bro, please get to the point. Show us. You say you want me to get to the point? I'm gonna get you to the block side of the game. There you go. Yeah, how about you get to that goddamn point, nigga? Fucking don't know the fuck you are. Welcome to the motherfucking Truman Show. Yeah, you just got your ass Truman blocked, bitch. Get the fuck out of here. I don't play games on my live stream, do I? unless I'm the one bringing the games, nigga. Y'all ain't finna distract my folks, nigga. They want to be distracted. They can go to all them other live streams, and that's what all. And I ain't talking bad about those live streams. I like going in those too. I'm in those. My live stream ain't for that shit. My live stream is for the giz name and for my people to talk and for them to say what they want to say. Everything we know about our people on the continent has been told to us by the colonizers. Exactly, just like they're doing here. So and it's fucked up because now they're there, they're showing you the people, but they're narrating the whole time and playing shit. And I'm gonna show you real quick. One of my favorite people who was a documentarian, he passed a couple years ago, was this guy, YT man. But he actually told a lot of truth, and his style is one that I liked. And I've watched every single one of these. Many of them I watched multiple times, to be honest. And if you want to get caught up on foreign relations, wars and foreign relations, and some other and some injustices as well, like that Zap the Food program. That's something that's not foreign per se, but that's real good. But long story short, his style is like letting the people tell the story. Go in there.
They sold their crops too.
Let me find something.
And that little boy, even though his arms are quite thick, is in fact starving.
Yes. There are quite a lot of children like that in this village, even much worse than him. She says that I'm ill, and this is only a sickness of starvation.
Okay, so I'm gonna get over here because they keep showing some naked kids, but some of them you can trust. I don't want to say that. Some of them you can't. You can't always trust. You have to have. I'd say this. You have to have discernment with all of them. Okay, you have to have discernment with all them niggas because all the YTs. You can at least try to trust your folks without having super discernment. But you definitely have to have discernment with every single YT person. And then once they've shown themselves to be let the other people tell the story. You see, the difference was he talked to that person talked to him, he translated it back, and they would go back and forth in conversations. And so these people would get their stories told instead of the narrator telling the story. So as we get back here, that's what I think when I come back to this. So let's keep going.
We were.
And the reason why I say that about some of the white T folks is because some of these white T folks have written books that have told the truth. And it's just drowned out because there's a lot of corrupted white T folks who have played the game with the propaganda and have flooded the narrative or changed the books and stuff like that. But if you find the original books or you find the right white T authors, some niggas out there telling the truth. And it's also, I know I'm going on a slight tangent, but it's also like, I ain't gonna lie, she bad. It's also like someone like this guy, like some of these people, like they're out there, their whole channels. You got this dude who talks about the old world. You got another guy who handsome history, who talks. He reading old documents and telling you what he sees. You know, what he's reading, and he'll show the sources. Same thing with this dude. He's reading these newspapers, and he's showing the sources. Or this white tea chick, she went to San Francisco.
This breathtaking palace was, according to the official narrative, built for the Panama Pacific International Exposition of 1915, which was a celebration of the completion of the Panama Canal.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy, ain't it? We was on that last night. But you know, I'm just not going to discount her because she's a YT person that said it. I'm looking at this like, God damn, I didn't know that existed. Appreciate you going out there getting that motherfucking video, and I'm about to steal it off you, right? And utilize it to make sure I can prove the narratives that we want to prove.
The Yamasee tribe.
Sometimes these folks, man, they do be telling the truth. You know, because and I'll tell you like this. I find more of them telling the truth than Africans. And that really makes me wonder about Africans. And I also find them telling the truth more than natives in many cases. Some of these fake $5 natives. So like, I give them a little bit more credit just because I've been digging through some of their crates and I get information off of them. Whereas I ain't never dug through no African shit or no native shit or no information from them or whatever. And mind you, a lot of things are written by, you know, YTs or whatever, you know. So that's a little bit more different, but still, you know. I just, you know, every time we see these people coming in, they trolling. They trolling with their hard face. And you see how hard this face look? It reminds me of Lewis Course and exactly how Lewis Course drew them faces. Watch. Another little last side tangent. We got to finish this damn topic. And this topic is not even on the damn slavery topic, but Lewis Course. I just want to show y'all, when he drew the Africans, this nigga was so correct when he drew the Africans in 1822. I wish I could flip this. So that's how he drew the African, right? African, right? African. How can I get this side by side popping off? There we go. I think that nigga knew what he was drawing. You know what I'm saying? I think he got it right. I think, you know, that's about the average. Gosh, must be crazy. Do you have unavailable access? What you talking about? Night shift? Did you just say shit? I don't know what you talking about. Archive.org resource. It said they trying to be woke too, and they be flabbergasted. I think you talking about the YT folks. Struggle face. Yes. And they don't have to struggle so hard. Like, if they use their brain a little harder, you really won't have to struggle as much. But he got the depictions correct. I just want to throw that in there. But okay, all right, let's get back into this song. So again, they're playing the song. Now before, just to get back, and also to the people who just came in, they played on a more modern day version of this documentary, they played the songs, but they didn't show the people singing the songs. So here we've gone back and we're going to actually see them.
After village, people said, well, yes, there's Mende in that song, but we don't know that particular song.
After covering the entire Pujun district, the tired and disappointed researchers began to think the song was lost forever and decided to call off their search. However, some weeks later, Cynthia Schmidt took up her tape recorder once again and decided.
So this is a lesson on, like, when I say I listen to everything, I listen to everything. And white people put too many extras on their story. After searching through every single village in the Punjab district, they was damn near about to give up. And it wasn't until this one day, watch this.
To try her luck in Senihungola, a small village.
One day they tried to try their luck in one last place called Ngola. Like they wasn't even thinking about it. They didn't even know. You know, it was the last thing. Okay, hold on. Wait a minute. Why y'all playing games with me? As if y'all didn't know that place existed on the prior documentaries. On prior documentaries, you had listed goddamn Ngola. You had said that's where the Gola word comes from, playing games. So now you mean to tell me, let me pull it back up, go to the right spot.
Face the death of their loved ones.
Oh, got this one. So now you mean to tell me that you done concocted this story. Now you saying that you went to this place and went to every other location but one of the locations that you've been known about for goddamn 30, 40, 50 years. And now you done concocted this story. See, that's when I say I listen to everything and I scrutinize it heavily, because when you're putting too many extras on stories, you're typically lying, okay? You typically are lying. In many cases, like the other documentarian I showed you, he does not throw extras on things. He tells the story. He shows the facts. He goes places. He be like, look at this shit, right? And that's typically my style. I'm just like, look at this shit. Look what these niggas are saying. I ain't saying the shit. This nigga said the shit, right? But so these people be playing games. So let me keep going.
Before, because it was just outside the borders of Pujun district.
That evening, we sat down with the tape recorder.
You said, do I call the internet facts African stir fry? I mean, first of all, you got a weird ass name. Fuck Trump. I don't know how the hell you even got that many followers, to be honest with you. But why wouldn't the internet have facts in it? If facts can be written in a book, facts can be spoken out of a mouth, facts can be visually recorded by a video camera, facts can be written in a newspaper, facts can be old documents, facts can be any goddamn thing that is a fact. It could be a manuscript from a Voyager that came in the 1500s. If they upload that bitch to the goddamn internet, nigga, it's a goddamn fact still, dumbass. When does it not become a fact? No, it's on the internet. It's in the world of the clouds now, nigga. What kind of, ain't no facts in the cloud, nigga. Niggas is dumb as fuck. How the fuck you got 5,000 followers with that dumbass logic? Nigga, get the fuck out my motherfucking life with your stupid ass. Get up in this bitch and get clown with your stupid ass. There's facts on the internet? I never seen them. Now, mind you, I use that same internet to goes with my GPS up the streets. So obviously it must be a fact to get from point A to point goddamn B every day on my goddamn internets. You dumb bitch. Motherfucker's dumb as a motherfucker. You just get clown coming in here. You ain't gonna type shit else, dumb fuck. You sitting there embarrassed at this point in time. That's what you get, nigga, coming to my live stream, nigga. Embarrassment. It takes one comment to get your ass clowned. Okay? One comment. Dumb motherfuckers. What kind of facts is those? Ain't the news on the internet these days? So now that Channel 5 News is on the internet, nigga, everything Channel 5 News says is not fact. Somebody shot somebody on the corner today. Well, nigga, it must not have happened because they threw that bitch on the internet. Stupid motherfucker. What's up, Gia? These motherfuckers dumb as a motherfucking box of rocks, nigga. I had to go off on my little tangent real fast on that dumbass nigga just to... Might as well roll me up another one while I'm at it. Motherfuckers is crazy. And say the most idiotic shit ever. Facts on the internet, I ain't never seen them. Where you find them? Stupid motherfucker. Yeah, I'm rolling one. Give me just to say. Well, while I roll this, I'm gonna let this continue to play. Yeah, I ain't even blocked that nigga. I let him hear every bit of that. That nigga just stopped typing after that. Oh yeah, that shit was kind of dumb. That nigga admitted it to himself. It was kind of dumb what I threw in there. Said the right. Hell yeah, you already know, G. I ain't seen that nigga type one thing since. That nigga hopped out the stream. Let me get out of here. Let me take my ass out of these nice people's stream. Messing up their stream and shit. Let me get my dumb ass out of here and shit. Take my ass back to Africa. You better go spit that dumb shit to them 5,000 followers, you dumb motherfucker. Shit. That's a lot of followers for you to be sitting there talking that dumb shit. It really makes me wonder what the hell. You must be scamming motherfuckers on something. You gots to be scamming, nigga. Gots to be scamming. I'm almost done with my little roll-up. Nigga gots to be scamming. With that kind of logic. And nigga, you own this internet, nigga. You ain't a fact either. That nigga don't exist. Nigga, I don't exist. I'm on this bitch. I'm on the internet. I can't be real, nigga. I can't be real. The fuck is we interacting with, nigga? Computers? Computer versions of ourselves, nigga? Oh, it's a fact that I'm clowning your dumb ass right now, nigga. That's a fact. It's a fact, nigga, that you put some stupid shit in my motherfucking chat, nigga. That's a goddamn fact. All right, I just finished. All right, let's get back to the facts. Let's get back to the facts. Nigga, that nigga gone. That's how you get rid of a motherfucking clown or a motherfucking troll. All right. So let's go. So we're about to get to it. So they played it, played the song for some Geechee folks, right? And or no, I'm sorry. Ooh, take that back. They played the song for some dusty Sierra Leoneans.
And I explained the story to them, and they were listening with complete attention, very, very carefully. And as I began to play the recording, to my astonishment, these women began to sing along.
Now look, let's paint the story. Now before, they was in villages of people, right? All gathered around and shit, you know what I'm saying, playing for the folks, right? Now, she done went to some remote area where she found three people that's dusty than a motherfucker. She got one of her, she so dusty, she ain't even got one of her hold up. She so dusty, she done took her foot out the sandal, nigga. Just to add a little extra layer of dust on her feet real quick. And this white lady talked to her. Okay, and what I'm getting to is, how do I know you just grab you three women and just tell them, come here real quick. Y'all think y'all can sing this song for me real quick? Y'all think y'all can listen to this and like redo this song for me real quick for this camera? Yeah, we don't get y'all away from that tribe. We don't want them to, think, okay, that may not have been what had happened, but okay, let's go.
Attention, very, very carefully. And as I began to play the recording, to my astonishment, these women began to sing along. And one woman in particular, her name was Bindu Jabati, the head woman. She sang along with the first phrase, Awaka Maloma, which means everybody come, everyone come together. Kambe Yale, the grave is restless.
So let's just get this right. She paid them all. Africans. Yes. What up, Regal? Exactly. So she probably paid them off with a bag of rice. I'm going to always use that bag of rice reference because I got a video in here about some Africans doing gold mining and paying off cops with bags of rice. I said, oh, damn, you could bribe a cop with a bag of rice, nigga? Let me get my rice together and then I'll go over there and live like a king. They gotta showed up to Africa with barrels of rice. They bought my ass a goddamn mansion and shit. Okay. All right, so she said that they sung along with the first phrase. So that's one thing that already got me. One, the phrase they sung along with was still not part of the same song. It was nowhere near similar. Two, if the song was the same, how come they didn't sing more than just the first phrase? Three, why do they look like they is not trying to sing this shit right now? Right? It's just a many different things to take away from this scene. And four, how come you didn't show these people in later documentaries singing these songs? Let's keep playing.
She sang along with the first phrase, Awaka Maloma, which means everybody come, everyone come together. Kambe Yale, the grave is restless. The grave is not yet at peace. And this was the same meaning as the same song that we heard recorded in 1931 by Lorenzo Turner.
They didn't know what it meant. They did not have words in Mende. They even at the last village, they said, "Oh well, there might be some Mende words in there," but they didn't know what it meant. Now all of a sudden, you know what it means, and you're gonna say that's the same as what was recorded. You couldn't even hear the words that was recorded. It was somebody, Lily, somebody. So you can kind of hear that part. The rest of it was just real jumbled up, kind of far away, and they was recording some lady, right? And she was already speaking a broken English patois, which that is not the same. They speak English, Creole, not Sierra Leone Mende bullshit. So there was no reason. But they're trying to tie a Sierra Leone Mende tie to it because that's what fits their narrative. That's why they're doing most of the narrating of the documentary, and you hardly hear the people. Now you would think, well, how am I supposed to hear, the people speak if they don't speak English? They showed translators earlier in this film, and just like I showed with my guy John Pilger on that last one, on his thing or whatever, he has translators that go around with him in order to do that. That's not hard. It's just like, that's how you know people are being really biased. But let's keep going.
So I asked her to talk about the song. This was an extraordinary moment for me. I asked her to talk about it, and she said that she had learned it from her grandmother.
That is like, that right there, nigga, to me, that right there, the way they move their hands and the way she's talking, that is 100% African, nigga. Y'all, that's how they do. They be all extra with the hands and the vocals and shit. But what's also crazy is she's like, my grandmother taught it to me, and she said she would bop me over my head and say, sometime in the future, when you hear somebody singing this song, you're gonna know that they're people you know from your ancestors, some stupid ass shit. And I was just like, boy, when you this is their problem. You should have left it at you found a song and the song sounds similar and that's the end of the story. But because white folks love to come up with tons of extras, they continuously add on to the song, to the stories, and it even further shows the absurdity of the lies they're trying to push in their propaganda. That's what I'm trying to mostly get to it. And then we'll hear a back to back. I'm gonna let y'all hear how they brought the people in here to sing, and then they're gonna have them sing theirs right after. So let's see if they match. And one thing that's crazy is this could be an indigenous American tongue, and they're trying to force it to be an African tongue, right? There could be some indigenous Geechee words or indigenous tribes, such as the Kusabo tribe, from the Kusabo Nation, such as whatever. I don't want to go through a bunch of tribal names. There's 500 of them, okay? But they all had a certain language. Some spoke Wale, some spoke Muskegon, some spoke Hitchiti, some spoke, that was Timucuan, Mokama Timucuan. They had different languages, okay? So this could be a mixture of a little bit of English, a little bit of whatever, but I don't hear these Mende words they talking about. And one thing they're not doing is breaking, what they haven't done is break the song down word by word on the screen versus their words and show the exact meaning. You just had this white lady come in there and say, the song means the restless grave and the blah, 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 blah. And it's just like, which words? Can you show me that? So that way I can go into my online online translator, which I guess, wouldn't be factual according to that weirdo earlier, but I would go to my online translator and translate these words both and see if they match up and see if these phrases make sense. No, they ain't gonna let you do that. But okay, let's keep going. And the reason why I know this is an older documentary is because this dude right here, the newer documentary, excuse me, the newer documentary, he's a lot older. Ah, shit.
Face the
Ma'am, I don't think that's the same. Hold up. Okay. Okay. All right. I hear that. Okay. Now, I really can't talk shit because my voice be cracking like a motherfucker. I got a real high pitch and low pitch, like a real dynamic voice. I can hear some lows. It could be real deep. But I can get high. It's real nasally and all this. And so it's like between the highs and lows or whatever, it can be like voice cracking. So I can't talk too much shit, but the shit is still funny, bitch. Hold up. She still can't get it out. This bitch done. She done rehearsed it at least a few times, and you still cracking on the same words. Or maybe you gotta crack on the word. Maybe that's part of the damn custom. And notice how they just keep saying the same first phrase. She said they knew the first phrase, which this first phrase I didn't hear in that song at all. But then they just keep repeating the same first phrase. So again, they don't know the whole song. And even the song they're singing is not the song. Now, let's do another one. Now, this song, does it sound like the song they played us in the later one? Like this.
Or anyone had found among the Gullah.
Why did you change it? Again, why did you change it? This is why, like, look, I be clowning and shit, but I be getting pissed off when I see the changes because that shows even more propaganda. You had a whole recording, and I think, hold on, let me show you the face of it.
The culture.
This is what Opala looked like then. So you know what? I can't tell which one is which. But they're lying on. I can tell which one is the new one and which one the old one. I take that back because I think the other one might be newer. But because he had gray hair on the side. Let's go back. This one might be newer. Where his bitch ass at?
Face the death.
Yeah, he had a little gray right there. So this is later. Either way, it was changed. Because then, okay, even if this is the one that's later, then I'm wondering, where did you get this song from if you hadn't went over there and got it yet? Now it says it's a performance by the Freetown Players. Come quickly, let us work hard. The grave is not yet finished. But who's the Freetown Players? Where'd you get this song? And why is it different from the song that they're singing? And why is their song still not similar to this song? And how come the Black American Indians who were singing this song were singing this song? You know why? You know why they were singing this song exactly like this? Because they are this person's offspring, descendants. They're Amelia Dawley's descendants. So the reason why they're singing it correctly, by the correct tones and the words, whatever those words are, is because they're her descendants and they have the recording. And it's been passed down to them. Right? It's been passed down to them. Her. I don't know who she is. She brought her with her, so I don't know if that's her granddaughter. Probably her granddaughter, to be honest with you. And that's an amazing thing. But instead of us, and think about this. These people be pissing me off. You have an amazing story of indigenous language continuity here, still flowing. And instead of purposely looking into this, we're trying to force an African narrative where it purposely does not fit. And we've used multiple pieces of improper propagandistic information. These people singing this song, the recording by the Freetown Players, not showing the people earlier on the last one, showing these people they're singing one phrase of it, all this other stuff. This is how hard they are trying to erase what I believe is a possible continuity of real indigenous language. So what's the name of the city of Georgia? I'm not sure which one you're talking about. What you talking about? Because we're talking about South Carolina He looks younger. Yeah, he did. Says they look black, not African. You can tell the difference between us, yet they say we are them. Exactly. Even her, she might be a darker skin than her grandma. But let me have her open her eyes up a little bit. Like right there, you can tell that she is not an African. Her eyes, her nose, eyebrows, structure, the smooth skin, the smooth face. Even grandma got smooth skin. These people over here are rough, boy. They're a little rough. She ain't too bad. I've seen some roughers, you know. But I just got to clown Africans whenever I get the chance because they be clowning and bullshitting on these apps too much. But then they doing these little bullshit practices and stuff, eating rice off the ground and shit. Where they somewhere they eat the rice off the ground, and we was like, nigga, none of that is our practice. Drinking bowls out the mouth, drinking after each other and shit. First of all, we ain't drinking out of bowls ever. Okay, the only thing I'm drinking out of a bowl is goddamn cereal milk, nigga. But goddamn, and I damn sure ain't passing that motherfucker to nobody at all, right? These are not our practices. And so this even further goes into like these visuals, because to me what they're trying to do is say, oh, well, the song that you sing is connected to these people, which are connected to these practices, which are connected to them having remembrance of you and their ancestors, those who left, and this is what they talk about, those who left the shores long ago. Nobody knows the story about who left the shores long ago. Let me see if I can have them explain that.
Unequal.
Face.
It was in that documentary because I'm gonna have to go in and because pretty much right here where she's like
Phrase. Awaka Maloma, which means everybody come. Everyone come together.
Oh, let me go down
Come
further. So after she talks to this person's like, I believe my grandmother told the truth that those who sing this song are my brothers and sisters. So she says, hey, her name is Bindu Jabati. We ain't got no names like that, nigga. That song brought memories of my grandmother knocking on my head and saying, sometime in the future, when you hear anyone singing this song, you will be able to identify who that person is. I believe my grandmother told the truth that those who sing this song are my brothers and sisters. So not only did you just so happen to find this remote people who just so happen to sing this remote random song and they just only know one phrase of this song, but now you're telling me that these people are saying that the song to them means the exact meaning, y'all means some kind of meaning to y'all. Well, when these people sing this song, that means those are my brothers and sisters from pretty much a faraway land, right? Let me hear how she says, this white lady.
Asked her grandmother about the song. What is that song that you're singing? And the grandmother said, this is a song that I remember our ancestors by. This is the song that I sing to remember my late husband, to remember my mother, to remember my father. And she said that song was a song that they sang at their burials, and that it was associated with a very, very important ceremony. And this ceremony was very special to Mendi people because it connected them with their ancestors.
You see how they try to drive the narrative. This song connects them with their wink, wink ancestors, right? Through wink, wink burial practices, wink, wink, because y'all were taken wink, wink long ago, and wink, wink are the descendants of their ancestors. So technically, wink, wink, this song is a connection between the Sierra Leoneans, wink wink, and the Gullah people being genetically connected, right? This is how they try to drive a narrative. And I always see through this shit. And the reason why I was finding that is because on the documentary before,
In fact, only now is Cardiatu learning that many Americans are black.
So then don't go.
they didn't even know Americans were goddamn black, first of all. And then you're going to have this dude translate to her saying, hey, they took the slaves and brought them to America, and they had many generations have passed. And some of them still make baskets like you. Some still eat rice and greens and carry all these customs of the African ancestors for over 200 years. You don't know what the hell he talking about, right? But now all of a sudden you got a song that they have which connects them to these people who they didn't even know was fucking gone, nigga. Hey, y'all didn't even know these niggas because nobody was gone, okay? Quit fucking playing games. These people, you talking to a bunch of degenerate people who don't even have much education, and you're going to force a narrative on them because you know they're going to accept it. The reason why your narrative doesn't really work here in America all the time, it's worked quite hard. The reason why it works is because they have to force it on people who don't understand things. Who don't understand things. It would either be degenerate Africans, right? Or it would be children, which is why they put that information into the school system, right? They put the information into the school system because they know it's going to go amongst the people who don't have logical thought yet. These people never have logical thought. So you can feed them anything, nigga, at age 30, 40, 50, 60. They just gonna regurgitate it and move on with it. You know, they ain't gonna expand on it or think logically about it, you know. Just give them a narrative, they'll go with it. But with us, if we're in our 30s, 20s, 30s, 40s, we're going to be thinking about your bullshit. And in fact, many of us in school were already thinking about some of this shit some bullshit. It says, you know, where's the brow bone? Dang, that is kind of, I pronounced that as brow bone. Play the game better if we're going to win. Yeah, for real. We got to play it better. So, I've been all over the place, but I was like, how did I even get on the Geechee topic? Let's get way back to what the hell we supposed to be on. Almost an hour and something later, but I'd be gone. But that's kind of good because it allows the live stream to be full. But this is a book that I have found. Now, it took some time to find this. Actually, you know what? I found this book some time ago. They got so much points. It's scary. Real. So I tried to find. I found this book long ago, and you know this is just kind of how things work. I don't remember what I was doing when I found this book, but I had took some screenshots. Now, when I was going through my receipts, I went through all my photographs and videos on my iPad and organized them so I can get ready for, you know, some of these things, documentaries and stuff. I noticed this in there, and what's crazy. Let me see. What's crazy, if I'm not mistaken, it was already saved under a particular thing. Let me see if I can find it. If not, I'll just say it because I don't want to seem like I'm just being like the YT folks and throwing extras in there. I was just something somehow, and I was just out looking, and I was done, and blah blah blah, and then next thing you know, bam, it popped up, and you know. But that be my story sometimes. For them, it's propaganda. For me, not so much so. You know what? I don't remember what I saved it under. Let me try that. Let's see if that pops it up. Right. Yep. So notice this page. May 30th. Notice. Get out. Go back. Notice the date is May 30th. Okay. And notice you see Henry Lawrence. I don't remember what the hell I was doing on May 30th when I took this screenshot. But when I looked at it when I was going through the second time, I said, no goddamn way. Henry Lawrence. I said, that's just like the Henry Lawrence account book. The Austin and Lawrence account book. Henry Austin and somebody else. Now, I knew about this book from the dude Darius Blake, who I was showing. So that's what kind of got me to this. And I was just like, damn, boy, I be taking screenshots. I don't even be knowing what the fuck. I know I was probably interested because it was talking slave trade numbers. Negroes imported in 1764 to South Carolina. That's the first thing I noticed when I pulled up the receipt. I was like, South Carolina? Y'all know I've been digging deep in South Carolina, right? Here more recently. I don't know what the hell I was doing back in May. But then I'm looking at the Lawrence, and then I'm looking at this, which I also noticed you got Barbados listed here, Havana, Barbados. So we see some intercontinental, and we see some numbers here, right? We're going to talk about these numbers here pretty soon, but that made me go look up the book. And I'll say this before I go to that book. Now, from this book on page, let me go to a certain page. How did this? Oh, oops. Where's the page thing at? Oh, there you go. Page, I think it's 56. Yeah. So this is the account book of them. And they're bringing in some Negroes. Shows the date. Shows that they came from Africa, somewhere on this bitch. Negro slaves imported off the coast, off the something, from Gambia. There you go. So you got a account book, and anything handwritten, I'm always intrigued by it, because that typically people don't lie if they're writing things down. That's important, but some people do. Also, there is people have rewrote things in history. I have seen it happen, but a lot of times, if it's like a letter to somebody, you typically, unless you just don't like that person, you typically may not be lying when you're writing a letter to them, or whatever the case may be. If it's an order given to a people, you may not be lying or something. But this shows men, women, boys, girls, tick marks, no names. The names are for the purchaser and for the payment. So if you say that you can trace your people back to a person, an African, back to somebody on a boat, well, here's some names. That's another thing I was like, well, if these people had plantations or whatever at the time, even though they took our last names, if they had them, you would be able to tie yourself back to maybe somebody, right? Excuse me. Now, there's not that many in this book, but apparently there were more books. So that kind of got me thinking down another thinking path. Like, how many of these... Now you see where it says firm? How many of these firms really existed? And how many of them have account books like this? And here you have different firms who supposedly were bringing in slaves, okay? So it made me be like, man, sometimes you'll get certain information and you start thinking, is their narrative really correct to a degree as far as some of the importations coming in here on some of the numbers? So then I found the actual book, right? Now, one thing I don't like is this book is very long, and it doesn't give me like, unless I have to go through many pages, it breaks it down by state, and then all of a sudden it's done. At the end, it doesn't really give me, it talks about the slavery importation ban and stuff like that. But it doesn't really give me like, what's the total amount of people, or maybe it does. Hold on. Various estimates of Maryland. No, this is, let me just make sure before I say that. That's 103,000 Negroes. Because I'm trying to see if where they get that 300. Where does this number come into play? I'm trying to figure out where does all the information for this 333,000 number come into play for this? And this was taken back done in the 1860s. This book was published in I want to say it was 1923 earlier. I'd have to go back to the front of the book, I guess. But so they should be able to come up with that 333,000 number, right? But as we go through here, in the beginning, now we're talking about Maryland specifically. So we're on the first chapter of Maryland, and that's pretty much where it starts at. And I also looked in the index trying to find what was the cumulative number, because the last thing I'm trying to do, let me show you, see how the first page starts in Maryland. You have your introduction for the first 7 pages, and now all of a sudden, bam, you're talking about Maryland. And then from that point, it's broken down by state. Now, I guess I might have to try it later. If there is a page with the end total, instead of having to go through all of these pages, because it's like, I almost feel like what they're trying to do is drown you with so many pages that you'll just believe the narrative over the fluff. And that's why I pulled up this book, because people may not believe that that's something that YT people would do. Like, would people literally write a book full of fluff? Well, just think about this. This is called the indigenous races of the earth, right? Of the earth. So when we look at this 690-page book, right, we should see several melanated people who are indigenous to the earth, right? Well, let's open this up fully. I want to show you, as you skim through, get past the little fluff. One of the first images you're going to get is this guy, for whatever reason. I hate that it did that. God damn it. It's so damn sensitive. All right, you get this guy. All right, okay, whatever. Maybe they just talking about him, right? Then you get this guy, and they're talking. So, okay, they must be talking about, your Greeks or something, okay. Now they threw an Egyptian in there, and the Egyptian looks hella like a Simpson character. Homer Simpson-like. Not really Homer Simpson himself, but you get what I'm saying. Okay, indigenous people of the world here. Okay, we have another Simpson Egyptian. He's a Commission, I guess. I don't know. Okay, all right. Where's these indigenous people of the earth? Okay, there's some more Egyptians. Kind of funny how you did them there, but okay. So these are your indigenous people of the earth. Okay, we're still talking about Egyptians. Okay, let's get past Egypt. Okay, now we're talking about these looking folks, indigenous people of the earth. They look like this and possibly have locks, apparently. I don't know how the hell that worked. The Kurdish people, they had locks. I don't know what that is. Okay. Playing games. Okay. Indigenous people of the earth. We're looking for some indigenous people of the earth in this book. And as we see, we're still kind of... Okay, what's that? Buddha? Okay. curly hair, yes, Buddha, okay, but not so much indigenous people of the earth is, to a degree though. He probably was. He wasn't melanated over there, but on this photograph, but he probably was melanated in real life. They're studying skulls now. We're looking at the indigenous people of the earth. Okay, some more Greek folks and skulls. Okay, skulls. Surely there's some indigenous people of the earth in here. Surely. Okay, there's calculations being done. I don't know what they're calculating. All right. Okay. If you don't think they can write fluff upon fluff and make charts and tables and shit, and the indigenous people of the earth, will we ever see anybody melanated? Can y'all guess? Will we come? Guess what, guys? We found the melanated folks. We found them. And they are being compared to what? Yes, a gorilla. The indigenous people of the earth are not these people. Your Algerian Negro. And listen, let's read the chapter. Let's read the paragraph. Following this famed anthropologist's suggestion, I now submit to the reader's inspection 4 woodcuts, A, B, C, D, on the next page. Few remarks suffice to establish authenticity. The palpable analogies and dissimilitudes between an inferior type of mankind, okay, and a superior type of monkey require no comment. As above stated, is the front view of the Saharan Negro, of whom our tableau, number 26, gives this profile. The color of the original is a livid tawny black. Now notice they said tawny, so they knew that the word meant for people black. But that's funny. Anyway, because they'll try to say later on it doesn't mean that. But okay. Chiefly due to a drainage of blood after decapitation. What? It says the color of the original is a livid tawny black, chiefly due to the drainage of blood after decapitation. For it was drawn on the field of the skirmish. By comparison with the profile, its simian expression will be better perceived. I don't even know what the fuck this nigga talking about. Has no history beyond. Figure A has no history beyond the references that his name was Biskri and that he happened to be a porter at Algiers, but nomenclature identifies the route by which he or his progenitors reached Algeria in the oasis of Biskra. I infer that this was his nickname, sobriquet, because in Arabic, as in Hebrew, the suffix ye, E-E-I-O-D, to a geographical appellative indicates the being of or belonging to a locality, or I can't even finish this shit. Look, when I say that they make fluff, they're using super words that I ain't even, not that I'm just super of that learned of a person. I'm pretty educated, I know quite a bit, but they're using all kind of words that even I would have to go and look these hoes up real quick. You know what I'm saying? To try to explain black man in a monkey face. Okay? And on top of that, that is the only photograph, I already knew this, that is the only photograph of a black person in the indigenous people of the world. I did a video on it some time ago. I was like, oh, so you made a book about the indigenous people of the world and there's only one page about niggas in it compared to a monkey. Sounds like you're pushing a narrative, huh? Sounds like, and you start off with a highly melanated, weird-looking ancient Egyptian scribe thing. That's even more so weird. But this is the book. So if you don't think that they would write books full of fluff and propaganda and bullshit, let this book be the first book you let people know that no, they do it all the time. Okay, and I found many books like that. So I say that as we go back to this book. When I first got to this book, and we're not going to go through much of it, but I saw that there was a South Carolina page, and I of course jumped to the South Carolina area. Now that's Louisiana. Let's jump South Carolina. All right, and so I started going through here, and they would have these tables. They would have these tables. Straighten up. Come on now. Gotta get further back. Okay. They would have these tables, right? And these tables, I guess I'm about to get in close. Okay, so that way I can move around. So, you got South Carolina, 1772. Now, I want you to take into account that we do show people, and we do show boats, we do show locations, right? We do show Gambia, Sierra Leone, Barbados, and all of that. And there's numbers here, okay? Now, first things first, I started to think was, did Slave Voyages use this document? Slavevoyages.org. Because I was like, I'm trying to validate this document. Is this real? Because technically this isn't Slave Ship Manifest. So anybody writing something in a book can be real. It's not Slave Ship Manifest. But I don't want to discount it just because of that. What's up, Spicy? Good morning. So I don't want to discount it just because of that. Right? She said, what year is this from? This book came from like the 1990s, early 1990s. The importations, it talks about just importations altogether. You can't credit because of that. Right. I don't want to discredit it just because it's in the book and it's not a slave ship manifest. They do have firms listed. I would have to go look up each firm to see if they have a book just similar to the Austin and Lawrence book that we looked at earlier, right? Now, if each one of them have handwritten accounts like Austin and Lawrence, still doesn't make it true, but it at least is a little bit more concrete evidence to prove a little bit of their bullshit as, slavery thing. But I'm going to tell you what I started to notice that made me realize something is fishy. Something is quite fishy. Now, this is one of these pages, right? Let's go to another page. Here's another one. I wonder if anybody can notice something that is very common on these. We're going to go to another chart. Because at first, what I started to do, I literally, since I couldn't find totals, it's like they didn't want to give me a total of everything they already built. I was like, why would you seriously make 794 pages full of goddamn calculations and not give totals of the goddamn calculations? Shit like that be pissing me off. You know what I'm saying? Like, even more so agenda shit. But okay, so I started going through and started like counting up certain things for a minute. And I was like, well, there's a lot of these. There's quite a bit of these. And then I started to add up quite often because there were several different ones coming in. And for South Carolina, you would have to make up a number that reaches that 100,000 number. So let me pull up real quick South Carolina's numbers. South Carolina had a population in 1790 of 107,000 so-called slaves. So in my head, I knew they had to make up at least somewhere close to that. And that's before the importation ban it was even complete. That was still 10, 20 more years worth of importations that still hadn't even came in between. Remember, importations came in between these years. So that's 70, almost 100,000 of these people hadn't even shown up yet by 1790. You got 34,000 to 70 plus the 70,000. So technically, only 200 something that. Now that I look at this number here, technically here, only 200,000 of these people were so-called brought from Africa instead of the 300,000 as we just seen, because there's 20 more years worth of importations left to do. That makes that look even worse, doesn't it? Because before I would say 333,000 minus that leaves what you call it, right? But now it's 200,000 minus that. And plus we already know too, that number's way lower because, today's numbers is like 100,000, 90,000, whatever, right? And we can show that proof. I got that receipt as well. But as far as for South Carolina, you got to make up 107,000 people that are of a black color. Well, this was starting to add up pretty quickly. But I want you to notice this. Just look at this page right here. Does anybody notice what doesn't look right? I want to see if anybody can notice. This is like class. Does anybody notice a class on discernment? When I finally had a lot more scrutinizing and discernment of this document, I'm starting to notice what doesn't look right with these numbers. If you can't guess, let me show you these numbers real fast first. Those importation numbers. Now, first of all, let me show you these numbers. You see these numbers right here, where people were actually counted in the census? I want you to notice how many of these numbers end with a 0. How many of these numbers end with a 0? Do you know how hard it is to count things and end up with a 0 at the end? To end up with a whole, what would that be, a whole number or whatever you want to call it? I don't know if it's called a whole number. That wouldn't be a whole number, but you don't see zeros at the end, right? But when you look at those importations that came in, number zeros, right? Makes you want to question, did you even count at all? Right? But they said this is likely an estimate. Well, I don't even know if they got the word estimate on this bitch, to be honest. I don't even see the word estimate. They want to say that they counted the whole number of 333,000 like that, right? You mean to tell me as people was riding on these boats, coming over here, being unalive, some thrown over the boat, and all these other crazy stories they'll tell you. They say all of them didn't make it, whatever. Somehow y'all always seem to get whole numbers back. 360, 150. You went over there one day and told him, I need 90 niggas and not a single more. You went to Africa. Let me get 150 of them niggas. Yeah. And that's all we need. We can't take them but 150. How does that work? How does that happen? Oops, I think I just caught you in a lie. Oops, I think I just caught you in a lie. And every once in a blue moon, you get a 3. But like this whole page right here is nothing but whole numbers. And that's when I stopped counting. I said, nigga, I'm not about to count these hoes up. I'm not about to count this propaganda up, nigga. Look at that shit. Wow, let's go to another one. Look at this shit. Some of them will have a little bit different, but you have a whole lot of whole numbers. There's a whole lot of whole numbers on many of these different pages. Too many whole numbers for any of this to be believable. 40, 80, 80, 280, 90, 280, 290, 230, 200, 200. Had a couple hundred. How many did you have on the last bat? About a couple hundred. Just throw that on there. You know, none of it makes sense. And now I start to realize why this document may not have been utilized by slavevoyages.org. Maybe they too, if they saw this book, maybe they too did not believe the numbers within it. Because we'll pull it up real quick. From Harvard, from the Harvard EDU website, David Otis, the dude that's over at slavevoyages.org, they said that they have detailed personal information of about 90,000 Africans. Of about 90,000 Africans. So he said, just over through the document. Is this how they made new countries? By lying. Like when I say these people will make books, that's why I predicated this book with this book. Because if I know for sure that they would write 690 pages of bullshit, how come what would stop them from writing 690 pages of bullshit of a slave story narrative? They still do it today. They still change history and come up with all these fake documentaries and different things today, you know? And that was really the main things I wanted to get in with this morning's live stream. Wait, what did their name? You said what did it say? Their names are available. Are you talking about the what you call it? I just had the Harvard receipt. I just had up from Harvard. Is this what you're talking about? I'll let you read that. Oh, there you go. Says includes their detailed information, 90,000 captured from slavery, century, including their African names. Is accessible at African origins. You know, I haven't been there. Let's look at that. That's a suspicious site. It's been blocked. African sites. But you can't trust African shit. Anything. African-origins.org. Let me try that. Let me try to type it in. African-origins.org. The website does not work. It has probably been dismantled. It was probably fraudulent, as many African things are. African-origins. Yeah, let me just Google the term and see if it comes up. African. Let me go to, hold on. Let me Google. Oh, okay. I think is that it? It was yeah, it was. I don't know why it was. The way they had the URL was wrong, so they just put www.dat, but really it's slavevoyages.com or .com or .org or whatever / African-organs whatever. So they don't even know how to fucking. And that's Harvard that did this. Y'all don't even, man, come on now. Pay that much to go to that goddamn school, nigga. But yeah, right here, oh yeah, and look, 90,000 585. So that's that 90,000 number. So these are the names of the people. But to be honest with you, a lot of these might not even be coming over here, because you see the date of arrival, 1862. Most of the numbers, the names they're gonna have, and most of their records are gonna be. Let me increase the per page. 100 per page. Are gonna be most, because I already knew, because I've looked at a lot of their slave ship manifests when they used to have them available. 1848. Let me see if I can sort this by date of arrival. Okay. I take that back. They got some names in here from the 1700s. So if you feel like yo people, and that's at South Carolina, I'm gonna have to go through some of these Gambia. I'm gonna have to go through some of these records. But still, only 90,000 records come total. So even though there might have been, like, I'm not saying no Africans didn't come here. You know, like some people might be saying that, and I can understand whatever. Is that? No, it's Oluwale something. Yeah, that name that looks familiar. I feel like I've seen that. But also, it shows the port of disembarkation. Port embarkation. Disembarkation. Okay. Yeah, that's right. Embarkation. I saw. A post. I don't know what's up with that post disembarkation. But okay. Anyways, so they have. This is their so-called records, and so the ones anything before 1808 would be something that supposedly came here to the Americas, if they show it came to the Americas on that side. So they, again, would only have 90,000, and all of these didn't come from here. As we saw, we was also in the 1884s, 1886s. So only a fraction of these 90,000 came to America that they have records on. I'm just curious. I'm going to click on one of these South Carolina records. I want to see if they have a link. Austin and Lawrence account book. They said they got that from the Austin and Lawrence account book. You see that? So now that's from the Austin and Lawrence account book. Look. Documents illustrative of the history of the slave trade to the Americas. What is that? What book is that? Your boy be on it, nigga. What book is that, nigga? That's this book. Okay? A random book I found months ago, right? Documents illustrative on the history. So they are using it, but apparently it still doesn't amount to enough Africans, because they still only show 90,000 records. So I would really like to know what the breakdown is, but to be honest, I don't even need to really go through that book, because even it ain't showing enough. On here, they don't show enough records. But they did use the Austin and Lawrence account book. They used the documents illustrative of the slave trade. They used the slave trade and economic development of the 18th century. Short notes. If they didn't put a year, I don't really care. I only care about old documents, typically. This one I did read that, but it's not that old. But short notes, Chester slave trading partnerships, 1750. I would like to look at that. They probably ain't got a link to it now. Public advisor, so they was looking in the newspapers and the Gazette, so newspapers. So this is where they're getting their sources. As you can see, that's under documentary sources. And so that also helps to let y'all know that your boy, look, I just got to say this and give myself a little credit real quick. Your boy is doing Harvard level research in this bitch, okay? These people from Harvard are looking at things and reading things that I done pulled up, nigga, and been skimming through. And so have y'all. Some of y'all too. So y'all are doing Harvard level research out in this bitch. Don't ever let nobody discount what you got going on. So please give yourself credit. Yes, and all of y'all too. How does that have documents? You said 1804. How does that have documents from 1862? Those would be slave trades that are not coming to the Americas. So a lot of their documents after 1808, which are a bunch of people like right here. A lot of their documents, we'll look at it, right? Let me click on the right one. So notice this is from 1848, but the embarkation region is here. The disembarkation is Freetown, Sierra Leone. So they was taking people from some other Lagos, Nigeria, I guess, or whatever, to Sierra Leone. Right here. I guess it's slaves. Or whatever. I don't know what they are. But as you can see there, can't just tell half the story though, bro. Is the other half that makes the whole thing make sense. What do you mean, nigga? If you missed it, you might have goddamn missed it. When I first clicked on this, it said 1848. If you already in your head didn't know that we've already talked about importation bans of slaves when we was going over this document and multiple other times, maybe you didn't hear the other half of the goddamn story, nigga. But don't tell me what the fuck half of the story I'm got to tell and it's not whatever. And I'm not your goddamn bro coming at me like that, nigga. The story has been told. And when I came over here, I said many times, most of slavevoyages.org's goddamn records are from external sources. And it is not from not external sources, from most of their manifests came from places that were after 1808, the importation ban. They didn't even have hardly many slave manifests prior to then. In many cases, you won't see them show slave manifests at all. They showed the Austin and Lawrence account book and other books. The slave manifest on the National Archive records is only 36 images there. I don't know who the hell you think you're talking to and who the hell you gonna tell me how to say my goddamn story. I seen your ass trying to request up, nigga. You ain't gonna tell me a goddamn thing, nigga. I don't know the fuck that. Who the fuck you think you talking to, nigga? I am a learned nigga. Can't just tell the story, nigga. What the fuck? People crazy. I thought they said they had all the names of the slaves. They have the names of the ones that they have, which is only 90,000, and really that again. Part of this 90,000 didn't even come over here. So if that's the case, we would have to see how many of that. It could be half of that they actually have records on. And now I know that they are looking at a lot of the records and firms that I was looking up. So I could go and look up these same firms and try to find their handwritten books just the same. But since they've done the legwork and came up with an even lesser number, I really don't need to debunk that number. It already looks absurd as it is right now. It already looks absurd as it is. You know what I'm saying? Because now this number has to be compared to this number. But really, if you're talking about by the end of 1808, slavery importation ban, it has to be compared to this number. So out of this number, which isn't the complete number of that came over here, less than half of that probably, but there was 1.2 million here. So they're really digging the hole deeper for themselves the more they do this. And I would have gone through that whole book, maybe not the whole book. I would have gone through at least the South Carolina section of this book. I would have gone through the whole South Carolina section of this book and added all the numbers up to see what it came up to, just because I am really purposely trying to prove before I do this documentary about the Geechees. I was like looking for, literally my last thing was like, look for every last shred of proof that there wasn't that many slaves here. And I had to because there were some books that I had came upon, like the Austin Lawrence account book and then this book too, I felt like I had to look further now, because I don't want to do a documentary and miss something. And somebody be like, look, you didn't even look in here, ha ha ha, and I done wasted all this time, right? So that's why I was looking up like this. But now I'm looking at it like now, and I'm just not realizing this. Now that we look at that the slavevoyages.org's, their South Carolina numbers, I wonder if I could pull up the disembarkation ports. If I can change that to just South Carolina and see what that number is. Yeah. Let's do this. Disembarkation region. No, that's not. They didn't do it. There's got to be a way to do it. There's got to be a way to see who just came in. From there. Damn. Typically, there's a way you can manipulate this document. This right here is just kind of sources. Oh, those are which ones can I view. Okay, let's see if I do it like this. Place of disembarkation. Nah, that's not. That's not what I want. That sucks. If I could somehow sort this to where it would only give me South Carolina, then I would have a direct South Carolina number to be able to go off of. I could sort this by alphabetical order of the disembarkation port. Let me get closer. I just feel like it keeps doing Freetown no matter which one I do. Yeah, that's not too helpful. But there's got to be a way to do it. But either way, I want to see. Otherwise, I would have gone through that book, added up all the South Carolina numbers myself. But then I noticed those South Carolina numbers look pretty idiotic. Now, it looks like they're utilizing that book, but I don't think they're utilizing it for the amount of numbers in there fully, because this number would probably be larger just off of that book alone, because it was adding up pretty quick. And I was like, damn, it's adding up quite a bit, more than I thought it would have. It wasn't getting nowhere near the 100,000, but it was adding up pretty quick. But on here, they're not using those records, or using them to a certain degree. So yeah, I really wish I could sort this bitch by South Carolina. And as we look in here, same kind of things or whatever the case may be. And the enslaver, what's the African's name? No documented names on that one. So a lot of these don't have any names documented. And that makes sense because the Austin and Lawrence account book didn't have any names documented in it. So if there would have been a name, I would have been wondering. I would have had to check their sources. So at least they're not fully lying on here. They're just trying to go off the data is what hopefully it looks like. And to be honest, with this number, I can believe it. With this number being 90,000 and most of those likely not coming to the United States after 1808, I can believe that number. And I wish I can just see the full number. But yeah, that's not going to make up this at all. It's not going to make up that at all. So I'm about to get off of here. Your boy's voice is going back out. Boy, it ain't no good. I just got to give it a rest. Y'all may not hear from me for a little bit. At least for a few days or so. And they're going to be hitting the motherfucking lemon juice, lemons, and motherfucking teas and shit. So, okay, I forgot. I thought I could use it if my people were slaves. If you see your person was a slave on a plantation and you can tie that plantation name back to one of those Austin and Lawrence account books, then maybe you could do that. Maybe there's a way to do that. But you see, and this actually brings up something I can say before I get off of here. So I want you to notice there are no names listed for these South Carolinians, right? And they're using the Austin and Lawrence account book. And when I showed y'all the Austin and Lawrence account book, the Austin and Lawrence account book had no names listed, right? But people like to play games. People like young ass Darius and the people who was putting the battery in his back with the lies. Because what they said is, he said that this was in his book. I had to buy his whack ass book. He was like, this is a list of the Negroes that was on a plantation. Okay? And what were they doing? He said that that was the person who he's related to. Now, first of all, you can't read it. And I'm going to tell you, hold on. First of all, does anybody can anybody read what that word says right here? Just so to know that I ain't tripping. Can anybody read this word? To see what they think this might say. And actually, the closer I get close, I feel like I might see what it possibly could be. But anybody can think that. So let me see if I got the actual where he says it actually real quick in the book. He says, let me do this little thing. Mirror, close. I wouldn't say close, but that's not even close to what he said. But again, it's undiscernible, pretty much undiscernible. Well, he claims it said Musa. Okay, now all these other names these are just names that he said are African-like names that he's seen or something on something, but he said that it says Musa. Okay, and so what he's saying, let's go back. Is out of all of these names listed on the plantation, nobody has African names except for this one undiscernible name next to Judy, Charlotte, Molly, Billy, Diana, whatever that, Carrillo, whatever this is, Johnny, Quamino, I think that is, Felby, Dublin, Phoebe, Rose, Harry, all these other ones. I can keep going, right? Sambo, Hercules, whatever. All these ones you can read. He's tying his people back to some guy named Musa. Now, do you think he has any paperwork on anybody on his ancestral tree named Musa? Or did he have a tick mark on a slave schedule that said he was under this plantation? And as he went to this plantation, he said, I don't know whose name it is. Who could it be? And I believe not him, but one of these advisors who are helping push his book and get it so much publicity that they give it, is telling him that that's Musa. There were no African names listed on Austin and Lawrence's account book. Why would he let one of the Africans keep their name out of all of these so-called people? Well, we're going to let you keep the African name because you look pretty damn African. But the rest of these guys, we got to give them new names, okay? But for you, we're going to keep you, we'll call you Musa. Fuck out of here with the bullshit. And I would at least believe it if I could read it. But when I get there and it looks like it's been scribbled over, now you're playing games with me. Okay? That top name is crossing through the name. Exactly. And I almost was like, is it Lisa? ISA? And maybe there's an L and these two things are crossing into that. But that I can't really tell an L from that. But I just thought that might have been a dot of the I. So I was like, maybe Lisa with an S. But even we're trying too hard because nobody had a name. Or if your name, typically you would have a record of your grandma after slavery that would say her mother was Phoebe or Diana. And then you would look here and be like, oh, there's Diana. She was on the plantation. Now, does that still mean she came from the boat? You know, it's not a slave ship manifest. And I think that's why they trying to tie and make it seem like that's an African name, because technically this ain't a slave ship manifest. So trying to claim these English ass names as an African thing off of the boat seems a little bit absurd. So they're like, well, let's try to Africanize something if we can, because they're trying to go too far. They probably should have just stuck with their narratives of, well, they just named them after they got off the boat, English names. I kind of would have at least went with it a little bit. If you would have corroborated a story where your census record said Johnny and you came here, you found Johnny on this bitch, and you also can tell that this Johnny was here at the same time of a plantation. Austin and Lawrence sold that nigga to them, possibly sold a male to him of the same age, and his age was recorded. Then okay, well, you got the smoking gun. You're African, nigga. Okay, you're a goddamn African. Okay. Did you put it in ChatGPT? I did. Good observation. What's up, Kataba? I did put it in there, and it couldn't figure it out either. It didn't put Musa. In fact, it skipped over it. It actually skipped over it, and because it skipped over it, it couldn't. That usually means it couldn't read it. And we can do it real time, actually, just so y'all can see. It's a good thing to show. Cause that, I was just like, surely it would, right? Maybe it can read it, even though it can read some pretty hard stuff. But I should have said transcribe, but it should know to transcribe. Yeah, I should have just said transcribe. Transcribe. See? That motherfucker's a beast. But what you don't have is a Musa. And where's Judy at? Because it was next to Judy. And you don't even... Cormano, Sam, Kara, Molly, Billy, Linda. What else was on the same line as it? It done skipped over Judy, too. It was hard to read that. Charlotte and Abram. Charlotte, Abram, Alcee, Roddy. So it said Alcee, Roddy. Let me see if that was even on there. It said it. I think it's reading it to be Alcee, and Roddy. Actually, that's what it read. It's like, nigga, I don't know. Alcee, nigga. Shit. It's completely off. Alcee and Roddy. Now, that's Judy. I can at least see that that's Judy. Personally, I feel like that should be Judy, but I could even be wrong about that. But as you can see, yeah, it got some of them right. But if ChatGPT had a hard time, it is hard to tell. And that's what they do. That's no different than them finding that song that come by the alley, lily, na 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 na, and you can't hear her say nothing. And they're like, oh, wait a minute. I think I hear some African words. Nigga, get your stupid ass out of here. You don't hear no goddamn African words on here, man. These people be playing games. Same thing with this. Nigga, get your dumb ass the fuck out of here. You don't see no African name on here, nigga. Ain't no Musa. Quit playing games with me. And I'm supposed to believe... Where you at? I'm supposed to believe this kid's judgment of what the fuck that shit says is better than my judgment. This 20-year-old, 22-year-old kid that just did his genealogy last week, damn near, for the project. And I'm supposed to believe he can discern that document better than I can. I'm also supposed to believe he did this research and came up with that idea himself. Do you think I believe that he actually came up with this Musa story? Nah. Even though in his book, he writes about his family having heard of some Musa or something. He tried to fluff it up. They got to fluff it up, right? And do you think I believe he actually came up with that research himself? He was so intelligent of a person that he did. Hell no, nigga. The nigga said he has 6 years experience of being a researcher. That must be including his college years, okay, in that 6 years, because the nigga's young as fuck, okay? I'm not playing. I found his goddamn Instagram. I mean, his goddamn, what you call it? This nigga's young as fuck. Nigga graduated in 2023. 6 years, nigga? It's 2025, nigga. How much professional research work could this nigga have done? Okay? And I don't even think that's when he graduated. That's when he started the school. Wait a minute, that's the start. He's still 2023, the present. Nigga still in school. But he was a research assistant in 2021 for who? For the International African American Museum. Wow, really? Okay. They let youngsters in pretty young to be your researchers. Yeah, let's get the 17-year-olds in here to research the history. They're gonna carry the narrative, right? They're not gonna go against the grain, right? Right? Especially if we're gonna give them fame and a little book deal, you know. People, get the fuck out of here. And look at him. Look at him with his watch. You know what I'm saying? With a little watch on in there. You know what I'm saying? He ain't got a little bread. Ain't no telling where that bread came from. Yeah, that's research bread. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? That's that research money. Y'all ain't understanding the game. I pay attention to everything. These niggas better quit playing with my people. This is the International African American Museum that he was actually part of. Said by Sam. This is the International African American Museum right here. Okay? The people who love to employ 17-year-old researchers and pay them a little bread, you know what I'm saying? And invite them to places like the White House to really make them feel good. I don't know if that's the White House, but that's some place. But that's what they would do. That's what they would do. And give them all kind of publicity. You know, we need you to stand up here and look like a scholar. Because this book right here, this is his book. This book will go down in history. As much as I'm going to try to make sure it don't, this is going to be just like the other books that are related to the Geechees. Basically, they're going to make this the new Lorenzo Dow Turner book, you know, for the future. And people will read this and be like, see, Musa, haven't you heard the story about Musa? They connected him. Darius connected him to his family. That's a real story. You ain't heard it. See, and that's going to be the narrative in the future. Watch. We'll see how long it takes before these talking points get on the motherfucking live streams. Now, he put it in a book, so it may not be read by many, but if it goes into a documentary from this book, then those talking points will definitely start to, you know, make their rounds. What exactly is the reason he kept a Muslim name in those times? That's a Muslim name. It's Musa, a Muslim name. Muslim Africans, man. Yeah, that should be no reason, especially when everybody else on the plantation had an English name. And they just trying to play games. So, yeah, like when I do my documentary, I'm definitely gonna harp on that. This is just a pretty dope. Some of y'all seen this before. Maybe some of y'all haven't, but that's the original South flag. Chickamauga. What's the Chickamauga? What's Chickamauga? Chickamauga Lookout Mountain. Chickamauga was a Cherokee tribe, Cherokee Indian tribe, a tribe under the Cherokee Nation. Rocky Face Mountain, whatever. And that's also a little artifact with it on there. I didn't mean to click on it, but since I did, I might as well explain it. But Moses. You know, somebody said that on one of my videos. If it wasn't you, somebody said that on one of my videos. It made me think about that. But yeah, man. Well, I'm gonna get off here, give my voice a little rest, man. That Wavy dude took off. He was in here requesting to come up. One thing is funny is when I roast a nigga on my live stream in the comments. Sometimes they stop. They just leave that bitch, nigga. That's how you know you really fricassee the nigga. You know what I'm saying? You really put it to a nigga then. Like, when a nigga just leave a live stream, like, okay, this nigga got it. All right, I'm out. You got it, nigga. Yeah, I got it, nigga. You better get your dumb ass the fuck out of my live stream. That bullshit. I was about to say, if he's still down there, I was about to request his ass up. Nigga, come on up and tell me how I'm not telling the full story, nigga. So come on up and elaborate. He wanted you to tell that white people were slaves too. Yeah, but I didn't think about that. But at the same time, I don't think that those records. I'll say this: those same people that say that they came over, which I do believe some of them did come over. Of course, there was the YT slave trade, right? But these documents usually say Negroes, the ones that I actually read. Now, it could be that they're lying, right? They're saying that they're important people and they're calling them Negroes. Could be that they're lying. But one thing these people who keep pushing that narrative are going to have to do for me is provide hard facts. Now, don't get me wrong. I understand that you can't find hard facts to some narratives because they've been lying. So it's okay to have, a philosophical thought process about it and to question it. But to be like, you're not telling the story, brother. Huh, you were over here just picking and choosing and this and that. Like, no, nigga, maybe my topic right now is about the Negro slaves that's coming in right now. Maybe that's the goddamn topic. If I want to talk about white slavery, don't get me wrong. If I want to talk about white slavery, I will pull up many different things about that. Okay, because yes, which folder is it in? Yes, I have several newspaper clippings and different things of these people. Like, I wanted to find this thing where this nigga beating this nigga with a sugarcane stick. I love seeing that shit. What did I do with it, man? God damn it. Come on, man. How come I didn't save it again in here? But before I do this, before I get out of here, like I got shit like this. Now, it don't really well, it does tell you that these people, not only does it tell you that YT people could be whipped or sold and whipped in 1840 under Harrison's law, but it even tells you like, hey, a little poor girl could trot her horse and basically across the bridge and basically break some rules, and it gets prosecuted and it has some fines and can't pay the cost. And then it tells you that a Negro becomes the purchaser who may whip her on her bare back if she attempts to escape. And it tells you somewhere she's paid her unable to pay her fines and costs and is sold into slavery. So not only could you be a slave coming off a boat over here, but you could be a slave white person and break the law and be a slave and get enslaved. And on top of that, you could be bought by a nigga and be whipped. Oh, they don't want to hear about that. Now, see, if he was to just inquire and be nice, a nigga could, give a nigga some game and some, facts that he could use. But since the nigga come, brother, you ain't telling the story right, brother. You coming in here with this propaganda and shit. I've only been in here for about 2 minutes and shit, but the 2 minutes I heard, nigga, is propaganda and I don't like it and I gotta say something. It's like, come on, nigga. Calm down, nigga. These niggas be tripping. You should also talk about how they had to change the law because the white tees got whipped. Oh, yeah, yep, I'm already on it. Now sisters got denied the shot I got. Oh, you talking to old boy. Yeah, man. So, so, that dude coming up in here, man. And typically, and I didn't even block him. I didn't block the last two dudes. That's another thing that's funny. I didn't block the last two. I just clowned them so hard they left. That's the fun part. But anyway, let me get out of here, man, to preserve my vocals. I appreciate y'all being here this morning. We'll see you back next time. Hopefully, maybe tomorrow, or probably not tonight, but we'll see.